Alrighty, welcome back to PCA's Garage. Welcome to the 5th episode of Tech Tactics Live. Today we're going to be talking about how to properly wash your Porsche. Actually, this could apply to just washing any of your cars. If you're watching this tonight, then you're probably more concerned about the exterior or care of your car than, say, the normal person. But we're not going to be talking about Concours prep or anything like that, or paint correction. This is just really, hopefully you'll pick up some good tips to better be able to wash your car and take care of it. The picture that you saw while we were in the waiting room, so to speak, was from the first Porsche parade. I believe it was Don Wester from 1956. That was the first Porsche parade in Gaithersburg, Maryland. So even all the way back then, washing your car was definitely something that you took pride in doing. And that's what I understand too, that many of you probably have a routine of washing your car that you've done forever. I know I have, and I learned that from my dad, washing our family cars, and kind of added to the routine as I learned from other people, so on and so forth. But before we get into that, hopefully everyone is safe and healthy. Here in Maryland, we're still under stay-at-home order, and Tech Tactics Live is at PCA headquarters, but we're kind of limited to what we can do in terms of cameras and stuff like that, just because I'm in the garage by myself. We do have some staff in the building that are controlling some of the IT, so please just know that we're kind of working with limited resources here. Be sure, if you enjoy the show, we ask you to like the button down there somewhere, and then also click subscribe, so next time there's PCA content, you'll be notified and you'll be able to join with us. What's great about Tech Tactics Live, and has become sort of a tradition, is we've had a lot of our sponsors and supporters give us raffle prizes for the shows, and tonight is no different. I want to thank Michael Dobbins with Expel. We've got 3 prizes for you. We've got 2 bucket packages, car wash bucket bundles, a value of about $125 each. And then we're also going to give away a TRACWRAP. That's worth about $120, and that's to take care of leading edges on your car, maybe on long trips, or if you're going to the track, something that you can put on your car temporarily to protect it while you're doing your thing, and then when you're done, you peel it off. And it's not as tacky or permanent as a full paint protection film. So very cool. Again, thank you to Michael Dobbins and Expel for donating that to PCA. So before we get into how to properly wash your Porsche, allow me to introduce our 2 guests tonight. First, out of Pennsylvania, the owner of Blackout Tinting, a PCA member, and I believe a PCA member through the family. I believe his father is also a PCA member, and that's Josh Poponick. Josh, welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right, he's on the line. We've got a picture of him up on the screen there, which is great. The next gentleman I'd like to introduce, owner of 356 Unlimited, a car 356 specialist restoration. He's also a multiple Concours winner. He's also our own PCA Technical Committee Chair, and that's Steve Hoffman. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you. Welcome.
All right. So let's just jump right into it. Again, we're just talking about car care. We're not talking about Concours prep. That's another show. We're not talking about paint correction. That's another show. We're just talking about taking care of your car. Let's think about it as taking care of, let's say, your daily driver Porsche or any other car, or taking care of your weekend warrior car, cars that we drive, not necessarily just compete in. And so I'm going to start it off, if you don't mind, guys. The number one thing not to do is to use this. And I'm going to put it up on the camera here. And nothing against Dawn soap, because Dawn soap does great for your dishes. But I'm going to say, if you're washing your car, don't use something like this if you're trying to keep the waxes and all this. Dawn does a great job. It'll clean everything, including any wax or protectant that you have on your car. I think, Josh, you might chime in. You probably use something like this to kind of reset and when you're about to do a paint correction, but never just to do maintenance washings, right?
That is correct, yep.
All right, so let's see. Car washing mistakes. Let's run a clip. We're going to try something new. Let's try Josh's clip. on car wash mistakes.
All right, guys, and just as important as the tips for washing your car, or perhaps even more important, are common mistakes that people make. Now, those keep people like me in business because when people don't wash their car correctly, they need a paint correction, and we get to charge them for that. But I don't want that to happen to you. So number one is using either a dirty wash mitt or the wrong wash mitt. We already touched on that earlier about how the wrong mitt can be harmful, but a lot of people don't clean their wash mitts. When they're done washing the car, they put it on a shelf. We run ours through the washer and dryer every single day, without exception. Every car gets a fresh mitt. We cycle them out, so always make sure you start with a clean mitt. And just like the mitt, anything that comes in contact with the paint is very important, so your drying towel is as important as the mitt. A lot of people will go grab a bath towel or a beach towel. I used to when I was younger, and that's just not the right way to dry a car. It's going to put scratches all through it, it's going to mar it, and you're going to be bringing it into a detail shop to fix it for you. All right, we got two big ones here. Number one, do not ever use the brush at a do-it-yourself car wash. That brush has been all over 50 million cars and probably has never been cleaned. It pains me to drive past a car wash and see somebody with a nice car out there scrubbing away. It was probably just on a lifted Super Duty a couple hours before that with a bunch of rocks all over it. Now you're dragging a brush to paint. Don't do that. Along with, don't use the brush at the do-it-yourself car wash stations, but also don't ever go through a tunnel car wash that has brushes. It's true that maybe the touchless washes don't get the car quite as clean, but the brush washes just annihilate your paint. Even though they're cleaned pretty frequently, just that motion and the material that they're made of can really damage your clear coat. And last but not least, guys, a mistake we see people make all the time is to let the car air dry when they're done with it. Now, the reason that that's a problem, and that's different than drying with air, by the way, just letting it dry out in the sun or whatever, driving it down the road is a problem because the water dries on the surface, and most people are not using any type of distilled water or spot-free water when they rinse, so it leaves behind minerals, and most people have hard water, especially if you have well water or anything like that where you live. Definitely don't want to let the water dry on the surface. All right, so along with the proper washing techniques, we have a lot of tools that we use here that we really like, so I'm just going to give you a couple of them. Number one is this wheelbarrow brush. We really like these. They have a rubber tip on top.
Stop the video.
And these allow you to really reach the whole
Let
way
him
on the
stop the video.
inside
He's
of
going
the wheel.
into the
You don't
next
have to
segment with the
necessarily pull
tools.
the wheel off.
All right. Okay, so Josh, thank you so much. And again, please excuse us with the some of the technical stuff. We're just not close enough to be able to catch everything. But really, Josh, you're talking probably the common theme across all of those mistakes is with regards to abrasion. You know, from bad wash mitts to the brushes at the car washes to towels that aren't correct. It's about abrasion, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the most common reason that we see paint damaged through the shop here.
And usually, when we get into, say, paint correction and you shine a bright light onto the finish, what you'll see is all those swirl marks, and people don't know how it happens, but literally what they've been doing is they're kind of grinding down. They don't mean to, but all the dirt that's on their car, they're kind of grinding it into the clear coat. And the clear coat is not, extremely sensitive, but it is sensitive to, dirt and debris, and you catch sometimes a little pebble or something like that in your dirty mitts or dirty bucket of some, it will cause damage, and it just probably makes somewhat of a harder job for you to prepare for a paint correction.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's move on to Steve's car wash mistakes. Roll it.
Okay, as for mistakes that some people make when washing their car, one of the biggest ones I see is they actually overwash their car. What you want to do is you want to keep a nice clean car, but you want to limit the time you touch the car. Every time you touch it, you have some chances of introducing imperfections in the paint. So you want to wash it when it's dirty, but you don't want to just wash it to wash it. One of the other things we see is when they see a little rough spot or dirty, light pressure, constant, work it, it'll come out. Some people just grind away at that. Don't do that. You're pushing imperfections into the paint. It will come off. Take your time, work it slowly. Third thing, cheap microfibers. These 4 for $1 at certain discount stores, not good. Shouldn't touch the outside of the car. Number 4, a lot of times people put a nice coat of wax on the car when they're done, and then I'll see it, and you'll have little wax residue in the rubber, wax residue around the lights, and up in the seals around here. Just, if you're going to do that, great. Just take the time and clean that up, you know. Solvents or something to keep the wax on the car, but keep the wax off the rubber and the trim. And then number 5, again, is wheels. People wash their car. I think by the time they get to their wheels and tires, they're kind of tired. So that's where they shortcut. That's one of the biggest tells to me when I look at a car and I see a nice, clean, really spotless wheels inside and out. I know the person takes good care of their car and does a really good job of detailing.
Thanks for sharing those mistakes, Steve. Again, abrasion, definitely want to minimize that. So what you said that I thought was interesting is don't wash your car too much. And I think I'm probably guilty of that, especially with the new car that you get home. You want to wash it every day to keep it clean. But yeah, that's a very good point. So have you...
I think, like I said, just limiting, you want to limit the contact, keep the car clean, but limit the amount of touching that you do on the car. Every time you touch it, you have the possibility of introducing imperfections.
So when you do, you know, the restorations for the 356s and such, and you hand the keys over to the owners, I'm assuming the first thing they're going to want to do that weekend is probably wash the car too. Do you give them any kind of tips, or do you qualify them whether or not they can take the car home?
Yeah, no, we usually detail the cars. It's funny, one of the latest things we've actually been recommending to people is ceramic coating them. It's like the cars are literally perfect when they leave our shop, so it's like the best way to protect that finish is ceramic coating, and I know some people disagree or agree with that, but that's the results we've seen from that have been outstanding, and 6 months later the car looks exactly the same as it did when it left the shop.
Yeah, that's a good tip / tool, and we'll talk a little bit about ceramic coating a little bit later. So let's get into the next area, talking about car washing tips. I have this Master Blaster here on the bench here, and this is probably one of my favorite car washing tools and tips. The ability to blow off, you know, standing water after you wash your car, or sometimes if there's like really a lot of loose pollen or something like that, I'll use this Master Blaster to blow off the car before I start doing anything with regards to washing it. The other thing that I like to do is just to make sure that I soap things down really well. But let's see what, do we have Steve's video on car wash tips queued up?
As for top tips, 2-bucket system, one for wash, one for rinse. And again, using the green bottom in your wash bucket, and then rinse so the dirty water stays in this bucket. Dryer sheets, use those for really tough, gritty grime. Love bugs in Florida are a bad problem. The dryer sheets work well. You don't have to grind away at them. Just let rinse go over and over, and they will come up. Leaf blower for in the initial dry phase to get as much water off as you can before you have to touch the car. And once you're done washing and the white outside's dry, make sure you open all the doors, get in all the cracks and crevices, make sure all the water is out inside the door sills, up in all these tough to reach spots. Get as much water out of there as you can. And lastly, about every few months, I like to take the wheels off the car, put them down, and actually clean the back side of it. Make sure to get those nice and spotless, because over time those will degrade really bad. And it's just a good habit to get into for really keeping your car clean.
So Steve, I don't know why I've never learned about the 2-bucket system. That makes so much sense. So this is my bucket from home, and it's got the grit guard and everything, and it's a great bucket, but I've never thought about rinsing my sponge out first before kind of re-dipping into this one. So as long as I've been doing all of this, I can't believe I've completely missed that.
somebody else showed me one time, and I've been doing that forever. And you've got the grit guard just in case, but the 2-bucket system just is another step to make sure that water purity is really good on the cleaning side.
So when I look at cars, or I'm hanging out at friends' houses and they've just washed their car, I open the door and look inside the door jams and everything, and that's a great tip. Is if that's not clean in there, then I really don't believe that they've done a good job washing the car. So that's a great tip, is opening the doors and wiping down where the door jams are, the lock mechanism up against where sort of the wires are coming through into the doors. I even do the bottom of the doors. I do the sides of the doors, because when you get into the car and you open the door and you look and you see everything's clean and shiny, like, that's pretty exciting to me. I know I'm a nerd. That's known, but if that's still dirty, to me the car is still dirty, right? So the other thing is, I didn't know that little tip about your dryer sheets. I use this stuff. This is called SD20. You can get it online, and it's a little degreaser, and I use it for I spray down the car, make it a little wet, and then I spray this stuff on it, and it breaks up the little bug guts and all that. So dryer sheets, that's a new one for me.
Yeah, I think growing up in Florida with love bugs, we've tried everything, and the dryer sheet seems to be the best. I mean, I carry them in my door, and it is love bug season down here. So about every day you get a few, and some days worse, depending on where you go.
So is there a particular brand of dryer sheet?
No. Just about any dryer sheet. In fact, the generic Sam's is what my wife buys, the big box, and that's what we keep around, and they work fine.
And so do you have to wet the surface and then use the dryer sheet to scrub it?
Yeah, absolutely. Wet the surface first, get it nice and wet, and then and there's actually like a soapy kind of film that's actually on the dryer sheets that when you dry you don't notice, but when you get them wet you see they'll actually wring out like soap.
Huh.
So that works really good as kind of a nice slick surface, so you're not like scratching. And again, like I said, don't grind away at the bug.
Right.
Just kind of work it back and forth, or the tar, or whatever it is. It's lightly, it'll slowly take it down and get rid of it, so you don't have to take away any paint or any clear coat or anything. Just easy.
And that's a good point. Is I know a lot of people, when they're washing their car and they come across a bird dropping or something that might be somewhat of a stain, they kind of lean into it and scrub away, and that's the last thing you want to do. You want like the soap to take time and let the soap kind of sink in and break up whatever it is you're trying to do. And just think of it as your own skin. Like, you wouldn't want to dig into your own skin to kind of remove something. You want the solution to break up whatever it is, and then just wipe it off gently. Never dig into the paint, because once you dig in and scratch, that's what you're doing, and it's going to be that much harder to remove the surrounding area that you've scratched while you were trying to dig out that mark that was on the car. Let's move over to Josh's car washing tips. Roll it.
Let's start with the tips. So my first tip for washing a car is pretty basic: to wash your car from the top down. And the reason for that is pretty simple. The lower you go on the car, the dirtier it is. So if you start on the bottom and then you work your way up, you're going to be dragging dirt all over the paint, and we don't want to do that. And my second tip: no car is clean without the wheels being clean. We always clean wheels first, and the reason for that is because if you do them last, when you're rinsing them off, your clean car that you just washed is now getting stuff all over it. If you do them first, then as you're washing and rinsing the car, everything runs off of the wheels and they can be dried with the rest of the car.
Those are words to live by. I definitely wash top to bottom. That's how my dad taught me. That's how I teach my kids. And the shortest kid always does the wheels with a separate bucket, separate solution, and separate sponge. We typically do the wheels first as well. So definitely words to live by. All right, let's move on to car wash tools. Let's see, Josh's car wash tools.
And last but not least is to dry the car with air. So we actually use a leaf blower here, believe it or not. This is a battery-powered 80-volt Cobalt that we get at Lowe's, and this works extremely well. We keep our battery on the charger all the time over there, but you just have to be a little bit careful with the plastic tip. There's also some detailing specific products like the Master Blaster that uses heated air, or at least a high quality microfiber drying towel. This is the pure freaking magic towel from Griot's
I can
Garage,
talk through
and
it.
It really does work.
All right. So we saw one of your other tools, Josh, was sort of the wheel brush before. And so I know that's definitely handy to getting in behind the spokes and in between the spokes. You use a blower, again, blowing that water off your car after the final rinse, as opposed to wiping down every bit of moisture from the car, just means less amount of times you touch the surface of the car. And that big towel definitely is handy when you're trying to do that one wipe and get all of the moisture off the car. Now, Josh, do you wash your towels and stuff at some point?
Yeah, that's a good question. We do. We wash them every single day. We always start every car with a fresh towel. And there's a sort of a tip to that too, believe it or not. We only wash microfibers with other microfibers, and we only wash them with a microfiber detergent. We found that like regular wash detergents like Tide or whatever, they will actually leave like a film on the towels that isn't great for drying a car off.
Oh, so I didn't know that. So there's a specific wash solution for microfiber towels.
There sure is.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And so when you wash them like you would your clothes, when you throw them in the dryer, I know that you're not supposed to put a dryer sheet because, as Steve talked about earlier, the dryer sheets has some sort of chemical in it that will leave that chemical in the towel. So you just normal tumble dry them without any kind of fabric softener or anything in it.
Right, yeah, no fabric softener, no dryer sheets, but we always dry them on low heat.
Low heat, gotcha. And you can recycle them until you've maybe wiped some oil and you really don't want to throw that into your washer, right?
Right.
Cool. All right, so let's move over to Steve's favorite car wash tools.
All right, as for tools, first thing, high quality grit bucket. It's got the grit separator in the bottom. Really good high quality mitt. Good wheel brush, getting in those cracks and crevices. Some high quality microfiber towels. And then the leaf blower, good leaf blower to do your initial dry.
Cool, thanks, Steve. Yes, the bucket is important. The grit guard is important. Before we keep going, let me make sure I pitch for those of you that have just joined us. Make sure you comment in the chat area on YouTube because we have 3 prizes that we're giving away, and you need to make sure you submit your name and where you're from, your region, by 8:30. So in about 7 minutes, we're going to draw for all of those great prizes. So the next segment, I'd like to call it Yay or Nay. Yay or Nay. And I'm going to bring up a few topics related to washing your car. And Josh and Steve, if you would yell out yay or nay, and then we'll talk about each one to share with the audience. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right. First yay or nay. Automatic car washes.
Nay.
Nay, nay, nay.
Yeah, that's a nay.
That's a nay. Now, I think the picture we have is actually a touchless one. We have one of a brush car wash, and there you go. Just imagine if you yourself was walking through that gauntlet and those were beating on your body. You wouldn't want that, so why would you ever put your car through that? That just makes me cringe. And if there was a F-250 that just been mud bogging that was in line ahead of you, all that stuff is probably on those brushes, and now you're slinging like sandpaper onto your car. And talk about abrasion earlier. I mean, you guys see that picture, how do you feel?
Painful.
Yeah, it makes you cringe.
Makes you cringe.
Yep.
So yes, definitely automatic brush car washes avoid them if you care about the finish of your car. If you don't care about the finish of your car, by all means, use them. Now, I know in some states where there's lots of sunshine, in Maryland we don't have too many of them, but I know in, say, Southern California, where my mom's at, they have some great hand car washes. So yay or nay, hand car washes?
Maybe.
Agreed. Maybe if you're careful.
I'm going to say nay, because...
And you know who it is. I mean, I got to know him.
Yeah, well, all the stuff that we were just talking about in terms of like, are the mitts clean? Do they dunk it in a fresh bucket of soap? There's so many variables. Again, if you really care about your car, I can't, did they just clean the wheels of one car and use that same sponge and dragged it across your hood or whatever? Maybe I have trust issues. Maybe that's the problem. And I still think, though it is better than those brush car washes, the hand car washes, unless you know them really well or you're standing there and you've seen them wash other cars, I would say nay to hand car washes. Before I go to the next yay or nay, one of the other things I want to talk about, and this has to do with hand car washes as well as auto car washes. Now, my sister, she's probably not watching because otherwise she'd kill me, but she had a black BMW, and she decided to get gas and then pay $8 or whatever it was to go through the car wash. And it was a black BMW, probably on like a 90-degree day, and I think she hit the works, all sorts of solutions that they can throw on your car, and she drove through it. And by the time she got through it, came home, got out of her car, she called me just about crying. And she says, I just washed my car and the whole top hood and roof of my car looks all faded. And of course I kind of inquired, what'd you do? And she told me about how she went through the automatic car wash on this 90-degree day, and it caused irreversible damage. Have you guys seen that out of your shops?
Yeah, I've seen things similar to that. It seems like those touchless ones, like the gas station touchless ones, or at least that's what they have around here, they use some really harsh chemicals, and some of their like wax sealant things and all that stuff can really cause some issues.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't have the agitation effect of the brushes of the old school type washers, and they're only using pressure, they kind of have to make up for it by using stronger chemicals. And to me, using stronger chemicals on any paint is the last thing that I would want, right? Would you guys agree?
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I've also seen cars that had dents in them coming out of those car washes.
Oh man, you mean it was
pushed in the sides? Yep.
Wow. And it never gets the car clean. You go to the brush ones, or you go. I'm gonna be honest. I've used them way back when I didn't know better, and after coming out of the car wash, I still had to like wipe things down because it was never all that clean. So I wouldn't waste your money and also keep from damaging your car. All right. So the next yay or nay. You guys ready?
Yep.
Using a pressure washer, either electric or gas pressure washer to wash your car. Yay or nay?
Car, no. Nay. Wheels, sometimes.
I'm going to say yay. Yeah, we use them a lot.
I'm going to say yay, with the understanding of using them properly. That's a picture of my son using our pressure washer. He's earning a couple bucks washing our neighbor's car there. But if you use, again, using the proper pressure washer, the proper PSI, the proper distance, and understanding the tool that you have in your hand, I would say it's a great tool to wash your car. The problem is there's a lot of people that will buy a 2,500 PSI one and stand 2 feet away from it and take the paint off their car and wonder why that happened. Or they used the wrong nozzle tip or something like that. But the pressure washer that you saw on the screen there, I think was like a 1700 one. It's actually an inexpensive one that I got from Home Depot. And it's plenty of power. It's no more than I need. And standing 6 feet away, it's just, I can just kind of rinse things off. I don't end up using a lot of water. I love my electric one because it's quiet. So that's why it's a yay for me. Talk about, Steve, you said nay, so why nay?
Well, for the exact reasons you said. So to turn anybody loose with a pressure washer I think is dangerous. So you've got to really make sure you know what you're doing, have the right settings, the right tips. Yes, I've used them myself plenty of times, but for this audience, I was a little leery about somebody go, like you said, run to Home Depot or whatever, get a pressure washer and tear their car apart. So just be careful.
Yes, you definitely need to respect the pressure washer. Another tip for those of you that have Cabriolet tops, do not use a pressure washer on your Cabriolet top, not at all. I know of a situation where someone had a brand new car and used a pressure washer on their top and literally, scribbled lines on the fabric top, and it was there permanently. You do not want to use a pressure washer on a top at all. Guys, would you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely can do damage there. And also the fabric tops are, they've got chemicals that are binding to the fabric to keep it waterproof. And if you agitate or disrupt that bond too strong, you'll have a leaky roof, which is, again, the last thing that you want. All right, next, yay or nay. Let's talk about this here, yay or nay, foam cannons.
Yay. Yay. We use them every day.
Every day. Okay, I'm going to throw a little twist to this yay or nay. Again, that's a picture of my son using the foam cannon. We love it. We use it with the pressure washer. I've never used one with like just regular hose pressure. Do foam cannons work with regular hose pressure? I don't know.
Not very well.
Not very well. Okay, so for those of you that have tried a foam cannon without a pressure washer and don't like it, don't knock it until you've used it with a pressure washer, because I think that might be a difference of yay or nay. And what I like about it is I can throw, I buy this foam cannon specific liquid, and I only fill it up to maybe about 2 inches of this bottle, and then I fill the rest of it up with water, and I can probably do like 2 cars with it. But what I like about it is after I do my rinse, I can throw this foam on the car. And remember when I was talking about letting the solution break down whatever you're trying to get off the surface of your car? That's what the foam allows me to kind of throw it on the car, and I'm working on one end, or if I know an area is super dirty, I might let it soak in a little bit. Josh, Steve, why don't you guys tell me why you like foam cannons?
Well, kind of what you said. Yep. Go ahead, Josh.
I'm sorry, Steve. For us, it's just an easy way to get a lot of soap on the car quickly. Obviously, we focus on quality, but quantity is also kind of important. So we need to move quickly at the shop, and you don't run into spots that you don't have very much soap on. If you have a foam cannon, you have soap everywhere, and that's what you want when you're washing.
Yeah, and going back between the foam cannon, you know what you're doing with the pressure washer and a good leaf blower, you can literally clean your car and not really have to touch it. To me, that's ideal.
Cool. So Josh and Steve, do you guys see the chat? Are there any questions on there that we might want to address before we continue on with yay or nay?
I do see the chat. I've been paying attention to it. I don't see too much. Somebody asked about using dryer sheets on the Expel paint protection film, and I don't know the answer to that one. I don't know if it got answered.
Okay.
I wouldn't think it would hurt it at all. I've got 3M film on my car, and I use it all the time down here. Doesn't have any effect. Doesn't cloud it or give it a yellow tint or anything like that.
So I saw that there was a question online. You know, a lot of times when you buy a car, when you take it in for service, the dealer or facility offers to wash your car. I'm going to add this one on to yay or nay. Dealer and or service place washing your car, yay or nay?
I'd want to see how they do it first.
I am a big nay on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the challenge you get is most of them don't tell you if they're going to do it until after your first visit.
yeah, and this is, again, we're not trying to bash anyone, but there's just so many variables, right? And if I don't know that you're washing my car the same way I do, I just rather you just not wash it. I mean,
Absolutely.
you know, again, it just takes one drop of a sponge and then they pick it back up. They could have a new person washing cars. They could have a new pressure washer. They could have it in the sun. There's, like, again, a million variables where you're like, it could go wrong and it could cause irreversible damage, and then it's no good for anyone, be it the person offering the car wash or for yourself. So that little quick yay or nay, I would say letting someone else wash your car, nay. Unless you know them and unless you're standing there, or unless you know it's a reputable dealer or a reputable independent that you know you can trust them to wash your car. All right, so I'm going to jump over to announcing the winners of our raffle, the Expel wash bucket system. The first two winners, they will each get a wash bucket system valuing about $125. The first winner is Marshall Wilkerson. Congratulations, Marshall. And our second winner is John Campbell. John Campbell. Marshall, John, you guys have won the wash bucket system. Make sure you send us an email with your address and we'll get them shipped out to you. And the TRACWRAP package, that goes to Todd Etchieson. Hopefully I pronounced your last name correctly. Congratulations to Todd Etchieson, you've won the TRACWRAP. And that's some good stuff, especially if you'd like to take road trips and or take your car to the track or to autocross. It's a nice way to protect, finish leading edges or behind your wheels and stuff like that, to keep your paint surfaces from getting nicked up. And again, it's not permanent, so you can peel it off after your event is done or your drive is done. All right, guys, back to yay or nay. This one's going to be a little bit of a longer discussion because I'm lumping in all types, but yay or nay on microfiber towels?
Yay.
Yay.
Quality. Yay. Yep.
Yay. And the reason why I said it might be a little bit longer of a discussion with regards to yay or nay, because not all microfiber towels are created equal. The big towel, Josh, that you had that's from Griot's is, you know, nice, thick, plush, and quality made. I think many of you probably recognize this microfiber towel. I won't say where it's from because we don't want to say negative things about me, but it's a pretty good towel. I'll be honest, I'll use it, but the first thing that I do when I use these is this little tab here can scratch. And the first thing I do is I take it off. And I don't know that other microfiber towels have these little hard tabs on them, but please make sure, again, think about using it on yourself. If anything hard is on these microfibers, you're gonna rub it into your car. If you drop them, don't reuse it. You're gonna pick up fine grit and you're gonna wipe it all over your car. I use them in stages. As Josh said, you can wash them. Now I know that there's a microfiber specific wash solution, so I'll look for that. But washing them, keeping them clean, single use, it may sound like a bit much to only single use them, but just think about it. If you cause a scratch on your car, how much more work that's going to be. These are cheap and you can buy them by the bundles, wash them, and use a fresh one each time. You guys have anything else to say about microfibers?
No, you hit the nail on the head. It's got to be a good one. They range so much.
High quality, trust. Most of the good shops have good towels. If they're, like I think I said in my video, if they're 4 for $1, I would shy away.
Yeah, and you can usually tell just by the thickness of them, how plush they are. It's important to look at the threads that they use. Is this thread edging soft or not? You'll be able to tell, much like when you're looking at a suit, you'll be able to tell, a cheaply made suit versus a really nice suit. And again, it may seem like it's extreme that you're buying such quality towels to wipe things on or off, but you can reuse them, and you really do want the good stuff for your car. All right, just real quickly, the winners, please also send your t-shirt size when you send us your address. Expel's going to give you a cool t-shirt to go with all of your prizes as well. Moving on with yay or nay. This one has been debated, and we'll debate it tonight. Without naming companies, there are car dusters out there. Car dusters. Yay or nay?
Nay.
Nay. I'm going to be on the nay camp as well. And you guys, Steve, why don't you explain why nay?
Well, again, if you know there's debris or dirt or dust or whatever on your car, moving it around with a dry object is not the right way to get it off. That's just a non-starter to me. So I don't care how good it is or what kind it is, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is you're collecting from, large surfaces and concentrating it into this one brush, and then you're dragging it around to all the other surfaces of your car. Like, to me, there's plenty of different brands, and I don't understand the science behind it. I guess if your car was just maybe pollen and indoors and it was dusty, that's something like that. But if you're driving your car in the street, there's grit and grime on the surface of your car. You don't want to collect that and concentrate it into a brush. And I bet you more often than not, people that have those brushes don't wash them. So the next time you use it, you're going to take the dirt and grime from the last wiping down, and you're going to collect it with the new grime and continue on. And all of a sudden, it's like a Brillo brush. Josh, am I off base?
What was that, Drew?
I said, am I off base talking about these things like this?
No, you're absolutely right. I do see somebody ask, what about dusters on matte finish paint? And that's an interesting one because matte paint, you can't polish scratches out, so that's an even bigger no.
Oh, that's interesting. So that's an even bigger problem with matte paint, because once a scratch or imperfection is created, you can't polish it out like a gloss finish.
The one thing you said about pollen, so if you ever look at pollen under a microscope, some of them look like little balls with barbs all over them, and every one of those little barbs is a potential scratch point. So even pollen, I don't want to touch it.
Yeah. So a little detour, just because we were talking about matte finishes, and it also kind of rung a bell of cars that are wrapped in paint protection film. Josh, you do this all the time. What we've talked about today, does it apply? Is there anything unique about taking care of cars that have that on them?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of things you just got to be careful of when you're washing a car with paint protection film. You want to watch your edges, make sure you don't blast something with a pressure washer, but that's all sort of standard with what we talked about, whether you have film or not. Other than that, you kind of can treat film like paint. Petroleum-based products aren't good for paint protection film, but you can use a lot of sealants out there on the market and things like that, and spray detailers, and most car washes are all safe on film also.
Got it. All right, the next yay or nay. I know there are a number of companies, not so reputable as well as reputable companies, that make, let's call it a car wash in a bottle. You're literally spraying this liquid on your car, taking a microfiber and washing it or wiping it down. Yay or nay?
Nay.
Nay, also.
Nay. Again, I don't understand the science behind it. I think I've heard some companies talk about how the chemicals that they use lift the dirt. I don't know. Let's just wash the car. If you're gonna do it right and just wash the car. Maybe if it's just light pollen again or something like that, and you're just doing final prep or something like that, totally, a little spritzer of speed shine or something like that, totally understandable. But to wash a dirty car with a car wash in a bottle and then wiping it down, even if you're using a microfiber, to me it just doesn't make sense. All right, so let's see, are there any other questions on the chat room? You guys can just yell out if there's anything interesting. Okay. All right, so let's talk about, I mentioned speed shine because I think a lot of us that, and Steve, you do a lot of concours, so you've driven your 356 or your early 911 or whatever it is onto the green. What do you do to kind of do the final prep before the car is judged? What do you use in terms of like spray cleaners or detailers or?
Yeah, kind of what you said, and that's a brand name, I guess, but some kind of speed shine or some kind of, there's several products out there that work really well. You just want to some kind of lubricant, right? You want to get the surface wet to lift up the whatever dust and debris is picked up while you're driving out onto the field. All the grass off the tires, one spritz up the wheels pretty quick, but usually all the preparation's done well before you get there. Getting in all the nooks and crannies and making sure that everything's spotless.
Yeah, and I've seen you prep your car, and probably why you mentioned it in your car washing tip is, you fold over your towel. I've seen you do this, and you put it on a fender, and most people that aren't watching carefully, you won't notice the fact that you don't really press down on that towel. You kind of like glide it across the fender, right? And then you're also
flipping that. Every surface too, you're rotating the towel. So when you hit one fender, as you go to the next area, you flip the towel. Fold a towel into like 8 or 16 pieces, right? So you've got different, nice clean surface every time you're touching the car.
And do you guys have different towels and/or sponges dedicated? I do. That's why I'm asking. Like I have a certain towel or a sponge for the top, one for the sides, one for like the rockers, one for the wheels. I know you guys are all laughing at me online because I'm a bit extreme, but it's what I do. Well, how about you guys?
There is absolutely different towels for the body, different for the wheels, different for the glass and interior. There's different levels of towels that fit the purpose for what you're trying to clean.
As they get dirtier, they move to the lower part of the car, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we got another great question, and with Expel providing the prizes and sponsoring this segment, let's talk a little bit about ceramic coating. Yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay.
Yay. Ceramic coating is really awesome. It's come a long way since the introduction of ceramic coating, and we have to properly ceramic, and you guys chime in at any time, to properly coat your car with ceramic. It is my belief, and the guys will chime in, like you really have to have a professional do it if you want all of the advantages of a ceramic coating. And what I mean is, there's stuff out there that you can spray or spritz or whatever and wipe it down, and you kind of have hydrophobicity properties, which is good, but it's not truly ceramic coating as I feel. If you're talking about ceramic coating, I'm talking about bringing your car to a well-established shop such as Josh's and having the paint corrected, which is another segment that we'll go into, is basically resetting your paint to its most perfect condition, or as perfect as it can get, and then methodically applied ceramic coating, then letting it cure, and then putting it into use. Josh, you want to kind of chime in a little bit about ceramic coating?
Absolutely, yeah. We do probably 5 or 6 ceramic coatings a week out of my shop. Every car I own is ceramic coated. I swear by the stuff. It just makes washing so much easier, and when you're done, the car looks perfect, like you just waxed it. I've got Expel Fusion on my Hellcat and on my Lamborghini Gallardo as well, and it's just like you're done, and it looks waxed, and it's amazing. It takes 20 minutes to wash and dry the car. When you're washing it off with air, the water just flies right off. I'm very, very passionate about ceramic coating.
And what I love about the ceramic coating we have it on our Boxster, is that it seems to level off the paint too. Even though you've got it corrected and you've got this new coating on, it seems to have leveled the paint, and there's just the brightness, or the amount of the shine that comes across the car is quite amazing. And then, as you said, when it gets dirty, it's almost like a Teflon coating on your cooking pan. Stuff just washes off. I probably, with our Boxster, I use a pressure washer and the soap gun and just kind of rinse it off. And I do happen to have a water filtration system for my cold water, and I just spray it and then just let it air dry, and it looks amazing. It's so much easier to maintain.
You had a question about using clay.
So we did have a question about how long does ceramic coating last, and I think we have to, maybe Josh, if you can talk about different types of ceramic coating and how long they might last.
Sure. So a lot of coatings will last a few years, and they're usually warranted for that time period. Again, since Expel sponsored, we're using the Expel Fusion Plus frequently, and it's a 4-year coating. With that being said, if you do not properly take care of your coating, it might not last you 6 months. There are people that just get a coating and then think you never have to wash your car again. You can use a dirty mitt, you can do whatever, and then when we see it again in a year, we try to do a yearly maintenance on them for our customers, and sometimes they just need re-educated on how to correctly take care of the coating.
Yeah, that's a great point, because you don't take care, or I've found that you don't take care of a ceramic car, or you actually have to know how to take care of a car that has a ceramic coat on it, because there's properties of that coating that you want to extend the life and have that property live for 2-3 years or whatever it is. And if you use another product, for example, let's say your car was ceramic coated, and then you washed your car with some sort of wash wax, blah 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 blah, and wash your whole car. Now you've just put that wax or whatever chemical on top of your ceramic coat, and it might not be even. It might change the property of your ceramic coat. So if you do a ceramic coat, check with the person or the company that put it on, check with the manufacturer how best to take care of it and what products to use to maintain the ceramic coating qualities and properties, right? So we have another question from one of our viewers with regards to claying a car. You want to talk about claying a car, Steve?
Yeah, I was going to say yay.
Oh, yes. Let's all together. 1, 2, 3. Yay! Yay for clay.
Yeah, I think before you do any paint correction, you definitely want to clay the car, get everything out of every nook and cranny, and and if you've ever seen any, again, like microscopic data of what a clay does, it's amazing how much it picks up and pulls from the car. Keep rotating, keep it lubricated. But once you're done, the easy thing is just to show somebody the little 4-inch square. Just spray it and hit it with the clay. Run your fingers over it, and you can tell the difference instantly. It's amazing, amazing product.
Yeah, it was, I'm going to be honest with you, it was life-changing to first experience using a clay bar. And this was back in the day when, it was literally a clay bar that you had, plenty of liquid, and you just kind of glide it across the surface of the car, and you can hear it almost like shave down like the dirt and the grime. And as you said, you go back and you rub the finish of the car and it's like glass smooth. Now those clay bars, and they still make them, sometimes if you got to a dry spot or you didn't lubricate the surface you were working on well enough, you would kind of catch, and then it would have a piece of clay stuck on the surface, and that was kind of a pain to work out. But today, and I'll talk about Griots because they're such a great supporter of ours, what I love is they have this synthetic clay mitt that has this synthetic clay material woven into the palm of the mitt, and you use it just like a clay bar, but it doesn't like hang up like a traditional clay bar, and it's easy to clean, easy to use. Are you guys familiar with those clay mitts or synthetic clay mitts?
Yes.
You guys would give it yay or nay?
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Definitely yay.
I'm going to dissent from you there. I don't like the mitts as much as regular clay. I feel like they don't absorb as much. I feel like they scratch easier, but...
Really?
I agree with Josh. I'm not a big fan of the mixes. I prefer the...
You prefer the old school clay, huh? All right, I might have to go back and do a side-by-side test or something. We have another question from a viewer. Product to clean and polish chrome. What do you guys like to use?
Chrome, we have a metal polish from Zephyr, I think it is, that we use on we use it a lot on Harleys and things. And also, Griots actually makes one called, I think it's called Heavy Duty Metal Polish that we use a lot. So those are my two.
So that cleans and
There's
polishes it?
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's a lot of good products out there. Even the turtle wax, the standard chrome polish you can get, depending on what you're doing, that stuff holds up pretty well. But there's a lot of good chrome polishes. Chrome's usually pretty durable, and if it's chrome properly, and we restore a lot of cars, so got good chrome shops. It's pretty tough. Keep it clean. That's the main thing. Keep the polish on it. Keep a coating on it to protect it, and it'll last a long.
Now, what about, say, surfaces that are not chrome, but they are simply polished, like polished lips on a wheel? Use the same stuff that you would to polish chrome?
No.
Different stuff. Oh.
No. Yeah, polished aluminum can be really, raw aluminum can be really weird to deal with. There's all sorts of different methods. You can spend days. We had a Spiker C8, if you're familiar with that car. And we spent literally, I think it was 4 days trying to come up with a perfect way to polish it to look like a mirror. So raw aluminum is different.
Gotcha.
Yep. And there are, again, other aluminum products, aluminum cleaners. And like Josh says, depending on the finish that you've got, you just got to be real careful because depending on what you use, you can change the finish pretty easy with the wrong material.
Gotcha. Well, gentlemen and viewers, we are at the top of the hour. I want to thank Josh and Steve for joining us today. I want to thank, again, Michael Dobbins with Expel for contributing all of the raffle prizes. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe. I hope you're enjoying Tech Tactics Live series. And if you have suggestions for what we might talk about in the future, feel free to suggest it in the comments section. We'll be back in probably about 2 weeks with another topic that hopefully will interest you. Again, subscribe so that way you get the notifications. And everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you then. Bye.
See you.